All right, hey there. Good morning, everybody. It's a few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday, the 13th of May, 2022, in an overcast and allergy rampant Bernie, Texas. I apologize, guys. My allergies have really got me going right now, so I'm not sure I'll be able to make this whole hour and a half that we usually do, but I'm going to try. Anyway, I'm Christopher Franks with Texas West Capital. And, man, we're going to take a look at the charts today, see what's going on. Nothing should be surprising. Everything that we've talked about time and again. I think most of y'all are listening, so you know. We know that some people aren't. They continue to, say things. But if you've been listening, the reality is that, we talked about the weekly pivot. And we said if we're unable to get above that, and it drops down, the S1 pivot becomes the target, right? And so that's pretty much what's happened. Do we have a bottom in Bitcoin? We may. We'll go over some counts and some stuff I'm watching on those larger time frames. But, there's certain levels we have to get through, and so we'll talk about those two as well. Sometimes words are hard, guys. Or at least grammar. Let's see, the dollar, man. The dollar up there, 104. Again, no surprise there. I've been looking at, 100 plus since last January when we bottomed out there around January 6th or 7th. Gave you my reasons back then and continued to talk about them as we rallied. CPI came in, guys. CPI came in a little bit down for the year. Year over year came down a little bit. I mentioned last month that I thought we were probably topped out with CPI. This month we're down a little bit, so we'll see if that continues on. That will reduce the pressure on the Fed to continue raising rates. We've talked about how the Fed raising rates, it's all reactionary, and it just ends up hurting the middle and lower class because of the impact of those higher interest rates on everything that's going on, right? The housing market's been crazy. It's just been going just bazooka there for a while, right? Just rallying up, and then it got high, and then interest rates are higher now, and so it's kind of priced a lot of people out of the market. But I've noticed, you guys know I'm looking for property over in Houston, and I've noticed that properties are starting to stay on the market a lot more. It used to be that they would get, a lot of these, man, would get 20, 30 offers in the first day or two. They'd accept that offer, before the end of the week. And now a lot of them are staying on for weeks now. And the prices, I've noticed the prices are starting to drop. So that's good, with interest rates going up. Hopefully there'll be a bit of a reprieve there. The new home builders index is dropping off. We already looked at the other index, which was falling off as well. So, a lot of reasons to believe that that things in general may be topping out, other than, I don't know, Bitcoin, right? So we'll talk about that, like I said. Hey, listen, you can join us here at howtotradetowin.com, or you can go to texaswestcapital.com and click on the green text box there on the toward the top, and it'll take you right here. I'm thinking about doing, man, Tier 3 is where it's at, guys. This website has not been updated here. Well over 200 hours of educational video content, more than you can possibly do in a month. I'm going to tell you right now. But what I'm thinking about doing, today's Friday the 13th. I've never done this before. I'm thinking about doing, for the first time ever, a Friday 13th sale, but for the first time ever, it'll be $13 for 7 days. And so you get to try us out, Tier 3, for 7 days. Try it all out for $13. That's it. So I've kind of put a thing on my Twitter there. You guys can jump on over there and let me know what you think about that, if you'd be interested in that, if you're new. This is for new members. To try us out and whatnot. And yeah, so let me know what you think. I wouldn't do it until Monday. It'd be like a delayed sale, a delayed trial, because again, I'm going to be out of town this weekend. I'm going to be in Houston this weekend. So I just want to make sure I'm available for you guys, when you do that. But, jump on over and tell me what you think, and maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Like I said, I've never done that. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what you guys think. Maybe the first and only time if we do it, So a chance there anyway to check it out. And that way, I understand, the price is a little bit up there, but it's because of what we do. And what we do is really good, especially on that educational side of it. And so, just because you may not want to pay that much money for it doesn't mean it's not, potentially worth it. Maybe it's not worth it to you, and that's fine. That's fine. But there is a lot of hours every day that I spend doing this, and so it's rather cheap for what the time and effort that I put into it. So we'll see. Anyway, you check it out, right? HowToTradeToWin.com. That's where you'll do it. Now, let me look at it. Well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's look at GBTC first, right? Well, I'm going to say hi, though. Let's see who's here. Claudio, Bamboo, what's going on, guys? Hangry Patrick is here. Nay, Mr. Wilkes is joining in. Glad to see you. Data, Mike Slane, Andrew Bennett, ARM. What's up, man? Andy says, hope you didn't have your cash in UST, Chris. Yeah, no, I don't. It's something, guys. I told you a long time ago. If you guys were around like a couple years back, we had talked a lot about stablecoins and do I keep money in stablecoins? And I'll be honest with you, I don't. And this is one of the reasons why. I never have kept it in, more than just a very, very tiny small amount in stablecoins, because at the end of the day, they're just crypto, man. And things like what happened with Luna, the UST stablecoin there, man, it's a real possibility. So this actually is why I don't. I go through some extra steps to trade, whatever it is, what it is. For me, I feel safer not having it in stable coins. And this whole thing is why. So I know a lot of people got burned with that. Man, I feel for you. It is what it is. But again, as I warned at that time, for the reason why I wasn't doing it, it's because it's not the dollar, guys. It's not the dollar. It's just a crypto. That's all it is. They can say whatever they want, but it's still a crypto. It's still not the dollar. And so if you put money in it, it has to be something that you're willing to lose, just like any other trading. Okay? Because, God, things like that can happen. So, hopefully none of y'all got hurt by it. If you did, man, again, I feel for you. I do. But, this is exactly the reason why I wasn't doing that. So, yeah. Let me see here. Crypto Critical says still too much bullishness left. He says that, but the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is at 10. Historical lows, right? 10. So is there really too much bullishness left? I don't know. Could we have a little bit dip down further? Sure. And like I said, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But I think we're closer potentially to a bottom than not at this point with the drop. So, yeah, we'll take a look at that. What's up, Tell You Ryder? You spent yesterday telling people not to buy Luna, but math is distasteful, I guess. Yeah, you guys didn't want to be in there. I know a lot of people were trying to, and some people got lucky and they, scalped it at the low and sold it, for 600, 800% in like a few minutes. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't do that stuff. I don't trade like that. Somebody had asked me online on Twitter, if I was going to buy Luna, and I said, no, I don't, this isn't what I do. I'm too risk adverse. I'm not very risk tolerant, because I found being risk adverse at the end of the day helps me. It grows my capital account consistently. And that's the goal. At the end of the day, I'm not here to gamble. I'm not here to, one trade make $10 million or something, And I miss some good trades every once in a while, but that's being a trader, guys. Being a trader means you're going to miss some trades. And you're going to get some trades. The idea is to be consistent with it, right? It's to be consistently profitable over time. That's the goal. So, yeah. Oh, let me see here. Diego, what's up, man? Bill is here. He says, huge difference between cost and value. Spoken like a true businessman right there. Hey there, Alan N. Good to see you. Andy says, same here. I don't trust stablecoins or any crypto asset. Actually, hold Bitcoin, trade alts. Yeah, pretty much. Every crypto asset except Bitcoin are centralized. Yeah, but you know what? I don't even know that centralization is the big deal. I think it just, when you've been in multiple markets for so long, it's just the same thing over and over again, right? If you think about it, alts are kind of more or less, for the most part, most of them are like pink sheets. They're like the over-the-counter stocks, penny stocks, and so that's basically what they are. People today still tend to get very married to these altcoins. They're like, oh yeah, it's a great project and great team behind it and this and that. And man, I tell you guys, I don't think we're at that point still yet. I told you back when we hit the bear market in 2000, back there toward 2018 when we had that bear market going down. And I said the next bull cycle, we might start getting to the point where some are maybe fundamentally worth, paying attention to. But in general, still most, if not all of them, are going to be just to speculate on, guys. Not the teams and whatever don't really mean a whole lot, I don't believe. So again, it's really just the newness of the market, guys. It's not that in general they're all terrible people or anything like that. It's just that the market itself is still very new. And it's going through a lot of changes. Just look at what's happening today versus what was happening 2 years ago versus what was happening 2 years before that and 2 years before that, right? You can see this exponential shift in what these cryptocurrencies are doing and how they're made available and what they, just the whole thing, right? So, I think the crypto market in general is still just basically charts, guys. I think everything's pretty much charts, Again, charts are just a representation of that social mood, right? But I think especially so when you're looking at very risky assets, very, very risky like crypto. I think it's all just speculation. I don't think there's a whole lot of weight to be given to teams and whatnot and all that now. I mean, you even look at exchanges, right? Coming in 2017 till now, I mean, we've gone through Polo, then we went to Bittrex, and then we went to Binance, and then we went to FTX now, and even with that, there's just constant shift, right? Speaking of exchanges, Coinbase, in case you guys don't understand what's going on, when you go to a bank, what you're doing is you're giving the bank your money, and they're basically giving you an IOU, okay? So I need you to understand this, because this is what people don't understand. They think if they put their money in a bank, the money just sits there. It doesn't. You're giving your money to the bank. The bank is giving you an IOU. Sometime read the very small print, the very fine print on your documents. You'll see that in there. Coinbase is no different, guys. If you're putting your stuff on the exchange where they're holding it, there's this big thing this week because what's his name over there? Brian over there said, hey, listen, there's always the possibility that if we were to go to bankrupt that you would lose your crypto because you become a secured creditor. Yeah. So, and it's not just them, it's any exchange, guys. Same idea. So, again, more stuff to think about when it comes to, the exchanges you use and paying attention to what's going on and stuff like that. Don't ever hold more on an exchange than you need to, guys. Hold on what you're trading at the moment. But, if you're going to take some profits and not going to use the trade, get it off there. That way you don't run into this risk of something happening. There was that exchange up in Canada where the guy died, the CEO died, and he had the friggin' passwords to the accounts, to the cold wallets. They couldn't open them, so people losing their money that way, right? And then all the different exchange things we've seen happen, right? Coinbase is no different. Just because it's licensed, it's licensed as a money services business, and it's public and all this stuff. Man, if they go bankrupt, you can all but guaranteed you're not going to get your crypto back, or maybe you'll get like cents on the dollar, basically pennies on the dollar. I mean, it is what it is. So you guys need to be careful and pay attention to that. Understand what's going on there, right? They are not a bank. At least at the bank, if it's an FDIC insured bank, at least you've got, for a single person, $250,000 guaranteed by the government, right? For married couples, it's $500,000, right? It's not the same with the exchanges, even Coinbase, okay? So just some things to think about there, guys. Let me see here. Let's see here. I'm not sure I can say your name correctly. Baltazar, is that what it is? I apologize if I screwed that up. He says, this bounce made people start posting V-shaped recovery to 65,000. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about V-shaped to 65,000, but I think whether the bottom's in now or whether it drops a little bit lower, I do think we'll probably have a quick recovery. I think it'll be limited downside. I don't think we'll sit down there. I could be wrong, but right now my general feeling is that we would hit that pool of liquidity down there, and then ratchet up. So, if we break down below the recent swing low, the target levels I'm looking at basically are 22,000 and then 20,000. 22,000 because everybody's looking for 20. And so historically, people tend to get front run, right? Now they could have gotten front run at the recent low. And that's really going to do some damage because people are going to be thinking, no, it's just a dead cat bounce. It's going to continue lower. And they won't actually buy until we're getting way up here, right? So they're going to miss all this if that's the case. Now, this obviously is GBTC here, but the same idea, the rally up to the weekly pivot, getting above that and closer to the all-time high is where people will maybe start buying, if not waiting for the breakout. So they're going to miss a lot of potential rally. The same thing that happened in this area. Remember, everybody here was telling you it was going lower. Not us, right? I told you it was going up. Here, everybody thought it was going to get rejected, go lower, right? I said, no, it's going to go up. 6,000 again, which was around this area on Bitcoin. Everybody, again, it's going to go back down here. No, I said, no, it's going to continue going up, right? And then everybody jumps on there, and I said, look, top coming in up here. Remember when I posted that on the free side of Discord? Talked about it? And everybody bought. So they weren't really buying here. They finally bought here because that 6,000 broke out, right? They finally bought in that 8 to 10,000, 12,000 kind of area. And then it topped out and, went back down. So I don't know. Again, is that possible that further downside? But we'll take a look at that here in a minute as well. Well, Zobia, what's up, man? Alan says he was one of those who scalped Luna from 75 cents to $6. So it's a small amount and knew it was incredibly risky, was still in my risk profile. Yeah, I mean, that's good. You said a small amount, so even if you lost it, then, it would suck, but you'd be like, okay, whatever. It doesn't kill me, right? Yeah, it doesn't kill the capital account, whatever. Yeah, that's the way you got to do it if you're going to do something like that. I see way too many, they go all in. And at that point, it's pure gambling, guys. And as you know, gamblers generally lose, right? You guys know that, right? Gambling is generally a losing business, right? Except for the casino. They figured out, the house has always figured out how to make that money, right? Let's see here. So was it confirmed that BlackRock, Citadel were behind the Luna UST collapse? If so, did they break any laws? I think Citadel, the best I can see so far is I think Citadel might have been in it. BlackRock is saying, no, we weren't, but hey, we'll find out for sure, right? Did they break any laws? I don't know, honestly. At the end of the day, guys, when you've got algorithmic systems out there, there are going to be big, loaded traders and companies that are going to, if they can find a way to exploit it, they're going to exploit it. Yeah, algorithms are made to break, right? That's what we always talk about. Well, not always talk about with y'all, but computer programmers, right? Algorithmic programmers. That's what they always talk about. It's like people say laws were meant to be broke, right? Rules were meant to be broke. Same thing. Algorithms were meant to be broke. And if there's a way to potentially break it where they can make a ton of money in doing so, you can bet somebody's going to come in and do it. So, yeah. Let's see here. Andre, says algorithmic stablecoin stupidest idea. Hanks mentioned that Arthur Hayes has a good article explaining stables and Luna, and I think he's got that link right there. Did Citadel deny involvement? I thought I saw something where it said that they were involved. Maybe I'll get that wrong. Okay, yeah, I could be wrong there. Arthur Hayes is definitely not. He's not dumb. Yeah, no, he's a smart guy. You don't get where he did in the business he was in with the company he was with by being an idiot. You've got to understand what you're doing. So yeah, he's not one of my favorite people, but I've got respect for his knowledge and his experience. I do have respect for that, sure. Nacho keys, nacho coins, cold storage the way to go. Yes, it sure is, right? Let me see here. Let's see here. Andrew Bennett says weekly could have a wave 4. Could wave 4 be a broadening wedge? Seems to look that way at the moment. Yeah, we'll take a look at that here in a minute. Sure. Let me see here. Let me see. That crypto banter dude had 75% of his portfolio in Luna. Ooh. I'm not sure who that is, but ooh, that's awful. I hope he was just BSing y'all. I mean, for his sake. You know, a lot of times, you know, he sounds like, by the name, he sounds like maybe some kind of influencer on there. You know, a lot of times they don't necessarily tell you the truth about what they're doing. I hope for his sake he was lying to y'all, because that's awful, right? Let me see here. Sarang, what's going on, man? I love your show, Chris, and listen to it multiple times the following days, especially when I'm cycling. Hey, man, great to have you following along. Glad you're getting some out of it for sure. All right, guys. Yeah, again, guys, I apologize. These allergies are killing me. So, you know, we were looking originally at this drop here, maybe like a spring below the range. We've dropped lower. So this count potentially here is an ABC or even a WXY. I can count 3 or 5 here. And I don't necessarily like the very small 2 with the very large 4. It doesn't automatically discount it. But, you know, it makes it iffy. But I could definitely see, you know, a WXY here as well. Again, you know, with GBTC, the same thing as Bitcoin. The drop below the S1, rally back up above it. But that's the count there. If this is correct, it's got a target up here at about $116. So that would be a hell of an entry at around 20, right? If it gets up there. By the way, you can notice here, so during Bitcoin's top here for 2017, you can notice we're up here, and you can notice that GBTC didn't actually make it that far above it. This drop here is a 50% retracement of wave 3, right? Try the 50%, so wave 4, 50%, right? It also has, let's see here, what's the swing high here? This is 1740. Swing low here is 1748. So 8 cents above wave 1. So, I mean, everything here kind of saying, well, that's quite possibly a wave 4 there. Now, we wouldn't know for sure until it breaks out above wave B up here, right? But what we'd look for, it looks like there may be this kind of descending wedge thing going on here maybe. And so this would be what we call a throw under. And so when you have a throw under, what you expect is a quick rally back up and to the top where it breaks out of the range. Right now we're getting that. We're on the weekly here. We're closing back up above it. And so then we want to see, do we get that follow through in the breakout here? But if we do, we're all but guaranteed that this is probably a wave 4 and we've still got wave 5 to go here. So, you know, that's kind of what we're looking at there. You can notice that all through this drop here, volume dropped off. You know, this is not, you know, what we usually see with distribution, right? Now, obviously, there's some coming in, but especially when you're getting toward the end here, you should see some, you know, continued expansion of volume. And right now, we don't see that. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. But I'm not sure we can get 5 waves up here off this, right? It doesn't seem to fit the counts here. So I say that because, again, we look at GBTC when we're looking at Bitcoin, right? Because they can't go in different directions, right? In general, they're going to move in the same direction because the underlying asset in GBTC is Bitcoin, right? The only other addition on that are the premiums you're going to have to pay or the discounts you'll pay to get into GBTC. So if, you know, this count seems clearer, you know, maybe than Bitcoin's. And so if it is, I mean, it kind of screams, hey, listen, we need to go up. We'll see what happens, guys. I'm not here saying that's definitely what has to happen, okay? Oscar, yeah, talking about Luna, yeah, the idea that it could be a wave 2. Yeah, but, you know, I think since then, looking at it, I think the project's done. I think it may just be failed now at this point. Yeah, that was before it really kind of continued down to the very, very lows it's been at, less than a penny and whatnot. It's getting delisted everywhere, it seems like. So I think there's most likely it's failed, it's done. But man, if it wasn't, whoo, it'd be a heck of a wave 3 coming in after that, wouldn't it? I don't see how it right now how it recovers at the moment right now. I think it's pretty much done. We haven't heard anything from Do Kwon for a while. I noticed he had a pinned tweet that he removed yesterday. I don't remember what the tweet was, but he removed that yesterday. I just remember there was one up there. I think it had to do with stablecoins and whatnot. Yeah, and we haven't heard anything from him like since. So, so yeah, so that's what we're looking at there. Yeah. Because things aren't done until they're done, right? Yeah. So, let's see here. But like I said, that was before it really continued to collapse on that. It was still at that possibility. Because remember with Elliott wave, wave 2 is no longer a wave 2 until it breaks down below wave 1, right? So it can be a wave 2 all the way to 99.99999%. It's just the way Elliott wave works, right? So yeah, there's nothing big or weird about it or anything. It's just the way it works. So yeah. Novogratz also hasn't tweeted in a while. He got a Luna tattoo. Did he really? Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, I tell you what, I was saying the chain has stopped, so you can't even move coins now on Luna. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. He's getting his tattoo removed. That's why he hasn't spoken. You guys are funny. All right, hey, listen. Here's where I'm looking at locally. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you this head and shoulders, this inverted head and shoulders. Our member Diego, he was the first one to pointed that out. Honestly, I didn't even see it. I was looking at the rally up, didn't catch the potential head and shoulders here. So we've got a couple of possibilities that could be going on here. All right. The first one is that so I'm looking at wave 4 here, and then maybe an ending diagonal for wave 5 here. Now, with Discord, I gave them 2 lower targets. I gave them the weekly S1 if we drop through that, the 4-hour S3 pivot. Okay? And as you can see, that the 1-hour, 4-hour S3 pivot is where we stopped right there. The weekly S1 pivot is where the candle spread stopped. So I was pretty dead on with that. We had a good rally up off here. That was good. We've pulled back. I'm not excited about what's going on here at the moment. So what I've told them is it is possible we could still have, that maybe this is wave 3 down here and this is wave 4 with this right here. And if it is, if we break down through the low here, then, again, we've got our targets of 22 area and then 20. But again, I don't expect it to be anything long-term. I expect it to be pretty short-lived, kind of drop down and rally right back up. But locally here, until that happens, we've still got some things to look at. So I'm looking at potentially, it is possible this could be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, something like that, right? Or even a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then A, B, and C here. If we break down below, back down into this inverted head and shoulders pattern here, that's going to invalidate that pattern. If we don't, the pattern target is up here almost at that daily S1 pivot right there around 34,341.59 cents or so here on Coinbase, okay? If we break down into it, though, it's no longer valid. But here's the other idea. The other idea is that it is possible that we've got a leading diagonal here. And if so, we could see price pull back. The 50% retracement is right here around this 15-minute pivot. It's right here around this 1-hour demand structure. If we go into the 1 hour here, it's what's in this wick right here. We had sideways there. We had the dip right in there. So there's a lot of demand sitting in that. And it's right there at the 15-minute pivot. So, again, we could see it come down to this 38.2 to 50% area. And if we see that and we see a nice rally back up, a breakout above here is going to suggest that maybe this is 1, 2. We've got 3 coming up. All right. If we break down through this 27,932.80 here, I'm going to be leaning a lot more toward we still got that one more down. That's what I'm going to be looking at. Again, my targets are around 22 and then around 20. Again, that 22 area would be a front run on the 20 because everybody's waiting for 20. And as we know, price doesn't usually get, if you've been in the markets, price doesn't usually get where everybody's looking, right? It usually gets front run before it. So we'll see what happens here with that. But that's what I'm looking at. Oscar, have a great weekend, man. How can all these supposed smart fund managers not see the Ponzi that many of us did with Luna? You know, people are people. They're going to see what they want to see, right? Excuse me. That's why I keep telling you guys, you know, even when I'm talking to you, sometimes I have leanings toward one way or another, but I always give you guys those validation and invalidation levels. I give you the idea of what could happen in either direction. And so if it goes to the validation level, well, then we're looking at that target. If it goes to the invalidation level, then we're looking at that possible lower target. And a lot of traders, they don't like this. They don't like to have to think because they're not sure of what they're doing. They're insecure about trading because they're not really good at it or haven't been doing it, right? But again, it's the difference between forecasting and predicting, right? So predicting says, listen, I'm going to tell you this is definitely the bottom and we're going up to this target. That's predicting, guys. Forecasting says, listen, I think this may be what's happening, and if it does, then this should be our target. But along the way, we're going to need to break out through this level to kind of add more confidence to this. If it breaks down below this level, then that's going to take a lot of confidence away for that or invalidate it completely. And that way you have the information you need to trade intelligently, right? That is the difference between predicting and forecasting, right? And so most new traders, when they come in, they don't understand that. And they don't understand that what they are asking for are predictions. Nobody can predict the market. That's stupid. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anybody. I just mean, if you think about it, nobody has a crystal ball. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, nobody out there knows what's going to happen in the market, guaranteed, all the time, without a doubt. You know, it just, you don't know. You don't have that silver ball, right? Crystal ball. That's it. Don't even know my euphemisms here. So yeah, there's a lot to that. And so I hope maybe I help you guys understand that week after week when I'm in here, trying to explain to you what we're looking at. Again, usually if people are new traders or if they've never actually learned how to really trade, again, they get very upset that there's no predictions. They get upset that there's different scenarios, because again, that means they have to think, and they're not sure enough of themselves, especially if they're new traders, to do that, right? We don't really know what's going on. How do we know which one to use, right? And there's no way to really help you guys with that other than to just say, you've got to get in there, you've got to learn to do it correctly, and then you got to practice it correctly. Same as any other skill set, okay? So that's why we have this, you know, and we trade on the shorter time frame, and we may extend that into a larger time frame trade depending on if we fall through and continue up. Remember, the other thing is you don't have to go all in, guys. You don't have to go all in. Believe that. You can go in and then find a next level to add more and a next level to add more. Okay? I think that's the other thing that a lot of new traders don't understand as well. They think, oh, I'm just going to go all in, everything at the one level, and then pray to God it goes the way I want it to go. And that'll get you hurt more than anything, guys. Don't do that. Okay? Yeah, I was thinking about that, Hank. He says, you know, that 19.8 to 20,000 level will be the first time that Bitcoin's ever retested a previous cycle high of support. Yeah, I think I was talking about that, Hank. You might have remembered back in when we were looking at 2018, everybody was talking about how low it could go, you know, below $1,000 and everything. And I looked back there and said, well, you know, it's never actually retested the previous all-time high. So I don't know that it'll necessarily do that. I'm looking at the same thing this time around. Sure. Everybody wanted it again. But, you know, does that really mean anything? I don't know. It could. I mean, it could be meaning, hey, we're getting toward the top. Maybe it means, you know, here's the other crazy thing, guys. Let's see here. Oh, got to find my right chart here. All right. You know, we've talked about the possibility that maybe this is, you know, 1, 2, well, this ain't 2 over here. Sorry, guys, this is a Femix chart. I don't have it on this one. BLX. There we go. Maybe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe this is just wave 1 of 5, right? So we're looking at this being macro 3, macro 4, What if this is just wave 1 of 5? What if that's just wave 1 of 5? So what do we know about Elliott wave? We know that when you're talking about the big macro counts, right? Often you're going to get, you're more likely to get a huge move up in your fifth wave than you are at the smaller degrees. So if this is the big, macro 3, macro 4, and work on macro 5 here, what if this is only, this is 5, and so this is 1, and then this is 2, even if it drops lower, right? But it's just 1, 2 of 5. Now, I don't know that I necessarily think that's what's going to happen, but, I mean, there's another possibility for why we could see it dip down into that area. Then it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be retesting that as wave 5 finishing off, But also, if this is the wave 5 top here, guys, we should go down a lot further overall. Because that would be 5 waves up, 5 macro waves from the start, guys, from the beginning over here. This would be the end of the cycle, the first cycle. We can see how the cycle's been kind of moving sideways here. It's kind of curving around. But again, if this is wave 1 and 2 of 5 here, this is what we expect. You get that sharp move up to finish it off, and then it's all down. So just some possibilities. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I'm saying these are the possibilities that we should be, looking at as we go through this. Not just assuming that things are one way or another, right? Let me see here. Okay, see what you guys. Let me see. Yeah, Hank's kind of saying the same thing. Wouldn't expect it to be a bottom. Yeah. Kind of idea. Okay, you guys are still talking about Luna there? Okay. Let's see here. Anyway, so here are the things I'm watching on the larger time frame here, okay? So the one thing we can note is that we tested the 200 EMA, the 200 weekly EMA. This is the weekly chart, guys. And so looking at it previously, we usually just dip before and then use it as support, right? The only time we didn't really do that was right here. We kind of stayed below it, but 1, 2, 3 other times, 3 of 4 times, 75% of the time, we've just dipped below and rallied back up. So there's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing is, as I've been talking to you guys about since we were back over here at the beginning of the year, as long as we get rejected by the pivot and we don't go above that pivot, remember I kept saying macro-wise we need to get above not just the pivot, but this swing high right here, right? This whatever it is here, $52,048 right there. We have to get above that impulsively. Until we do that, there's always the chance we can test that S1, right? Remember, I've been talking about that all year long. And I told you that on a breakdown of this swing low here, more than likely, definitely on a breakdown here, that would be my first target, right? So, yeah. So that's what we've done. So we've done that, and we've gotten a good reaction so far off it. And for those who are saying there's still too much bullishness and capitulation hasn't happened, I mean, that's a pretty large weekly candle right there. The only one that's been larger in this whole area here was the first drop down. And the weekly isn't done yet. Still got a few more days, right? As a matter of fact, this is one of the largest weekly candles we've had. If we look at this, this puts us in that upper area, right? This over here, over here, over here. I mean, this is getting to the upper edge, getting to that high level of candles that we've had since 2018. So I mean, it's a pretty good amount. But it doesn't mean that it has to be done. Now, here's the other things we look at, guys. If this is 1, 2, and this is 3, so I've got this other count on here, right? This is the one, instead of a 3 here, gives us a 3 at the top, right? This is the other count I was talking about. And so, with this, you can see that we've pulled back just about 38.2. 38.2 is actually around 23,100 here on the BLX. So again, wave 4, the first target is 38.2, right? Second target's 50%. So, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3 things so far. Now, what else do we have? We have this range here, right? We had the previous swing low here here on the BLX is 28,915 and 1 cent, right? If we close this weekly above that, this is a year-long bullish SFP, swing failure pattern. And usually, most often, that results in price rallying back up to the top of the range, at least. In this case, with the way this looks, I would expect us to continue higher. Wouldn't that be crazy if this ended up just being a flat, so ABC down, ABC up, and 5 more down here to just keep extending this out? That would go along with what Hank was saying. Remember, Hank was always looking at, potentially end of the year before the range was done, right? So, I mean, that could be a way something like that happens. I always think of things that would really piss people off in the market. And I think that's something still be in this range because, you get 3 here and then you get ABC down, ABC up, and then 5 more down to finish a flat and then back up to finally break out. That's going to take a while. So potentially bullish SFP on the weekly there. We've got this potential descending wedge looking thing here. I'm not overly excited about it because we're taking the start off this first pullback and then it goes higher like that. I prefer usually take it off the top and then head down, so top, bottom kind of thing. But with this one, it's interesting, right? And this could be a throw under here. Again, if it's a throw under, we expect to close back above that support and then a good, decent, quick rally back up toward the resistance and a breakout. If it's a legit throw under. Again, the drop here, there's no acceleration in volume going through here. Usually if you're distributing on the way down, you're going to see volume expanding up through it. But we didn't get that. As a matter of fact, the only time we got this volume was right here as we broke down through this area right here. It had to be forced down below it, right? So, that's kind of interesting as well. So, here, by the way, you can also look here that we've got this wedge on the weekly RSI here. So again, we're oversold with Stochh RSI here, weekly wedge. Break out above that a breakout above this resistance on RSI should happen when we get a breakout of this resistance here. They should happen around the same time. So these are the things I'm kind of watching with this and going, well, it's possible it's at the bottom or pretty close to it. None of this is guaranteed, though, guys. Again, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. We give you best guess based on the things that are happening, the things that we note, the things that may potentially play out, right? Let me see here. Let's see here. Andrew says, hey, Chris, on Bitcoin, why not consider the halving when charting? To my knowledge, there's never been a trading entity to the scale of Bitcoin and market cap that is deflated in mining circulating value. Sometimes we look at it. But again, this, even if you're going to do that, this right here is completely different from any other thing prior, right? We've never had this where it's just kind of gone sideways like this. Everything's blown off and came back. Blown off, came back. Blown off, came back. Blown off, came back, right? So, when you say why not use, the halving or whatever, okay, yeah, maybe. But, I think this ends up yeah, that word. It comes to a resolution, as it needs to. Just because something is, here's the thing about trading, guys. Just because something has always happened doesn't mean it's going to continue happening, okay? So this is the big warning that you often see, that past performance does not guarantee future results, right? This is the big thing about trading. Things will continue to happen until they no longer do, right? So I think that's the way you kind of look at it, right? And so that's a long time off. You just kind of work with what you have in the meantime. Yeah. Resolving. Thank you, Hank. Words, guys. Words are difficult, right? This morning. But anyway, so yeah. just kind of that's my thoughts on that, really. Now the other possibility here, guys. Let's see here. If you guys follow me here on Twitter, you've seen this other possibility. Let me see here. This one. Let me get it over here for you guys. Doesn't want to show up on my other browser because I'm not logged in. TradingView. All right. There's this possibility. Now, this kind of upset somebody. They felt the need to get onto my previous other triangle scenario I was looking at, and they decided, man, you don't forecast triangles even if wave E is complete until it confirms itself. That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard, guys. Listen, you've got to understand what the possibilities may be, right? Why would you wait until a triangle confirms before you go, oh, look, there was a triangle? It gives you no idea of how to trade that, right? So he also said I should drop this one. So if you're listening, whatever. But here's the other possibility, okay? And I find this interesting. Here's why I find this interesting. If you guys will remember, we just had that recently here on the Dow Jones, right? We had this pattern. Wave 3, A, B, C, D. This was the March 2020 crash for Wave E. Wave 4 is done. This is Wave 5 working up, right? So we just had this. We had this as a Wave 4 on that macro count. On this Wave 4 of this last part of the macro count, right? And it's possible. Let me see here. Yeah. So it's possible we could kind of see this same thing happening here, right? Similar to the idea, here's a 3, and then there's a flat correction. Similar idea, right? So what does that mean in terms of Wyckoff structure here? It means basically spring goes up, terminal shakeout. It means they're still trying to get a lot of the bullishness out of the market. So Crypto Critical was saying earlier that he thinks there's too much bullishness in the market. One way to correct that would be, because if they're that bullish still at the lows here, they can't get any lower, right? So you let it rally back up here, and then you shatter their dreams, send it as terminal shakeout down here, and you get rid of it before you get that final rally up. And that way you can make as much money as you can on that last leg, because you're holding as much as possible, right? And so that would be the idea there with that. So you get this expanding triangle, which is rare. Something I keep telling you guys, it's rare. But how interesting would that be that the Dow Jones does this on its fourth wave prior to its top, and then Bitcoin does it on its fourth wave prior to the top? That'd be kind of interesting, right? Kind of poetic. Anyway, not saying this has to happen, just saying this is still a possibility. I mean, I look at this, and 3 counts are easier throughout this, especially right here. This can't even be a 5 count here. Like if this was to be a 5 count, it'd have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I think wave 3 here is larger than is smaller than waves 1 and 5. Let me check again here real quick. Gosh, dog it, where's that chart? I'm going to send you guys through a whole bunch of charts here. I will just look right here on Femix. Let's see. Here's wave 3. See, the 100% is up here, so wave 1 is larger. Over here. Wave 5 would be larger. See, so you can't get 5 waves here. So this is a WXY, right? So ABC, W, ABC, X, A, B, C, Y. Well, if it's 3 down, it's not 5, right? I mean, how else do you get 5 waves down from that? Do you say you have an ABC for 1? And so then this is 1, 2? If it's an ABC, it's going to have to be a diagonal, which means wave 4 is going to have to come back up into it, right? So if this is ABC for 1 on a diagonal, even if we change this to log, I mean, Maybe. Usually you're looking for about at least 110%. Or you're looking for about 110% on the wave 3. I mean, so you're looking down here around 20, maybe. So, I mean, just some things to think about. It's, when it comes to Elliott wave, it's usually the easier idea that usually plays out. And so this being a WXY here makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, we look at all those other things we looked at larger time frames. So that's what I'm kind of looking at now. So we'll see what happens here with it. Again, guys, I'm not here to tell you that A, B, or C is definitely going to happen. I'm just here to say, listen, this is how I'm playing it. This is the things I'm watching. This is why. And then, we'll go from there, right? Let me see here. Luna up 12,500% since the low. Oh, no, that's fine. You guys can chat about Luna. I get that. Anyway, so that's what I'm kind of looking at there, guys. Let's jump over to the DXY real quick. Let's see here. So again, we have a couple of charts here. This is the futures. This is the dollar futures. You can trade on the ICE exchange. Again, some things I was talking about here on the breakout of this, classical charting. This is a rectangle. It usually resolves in the direction of the trend. Trend is up. Diagonal is just a accumulation basically coming back up. Again, you can note that volume continued to basically drop down until it hit the lows down here. Where it kind of popped up a bit. Now, it did a little bit right here, but that was that big, huge thing at the beginning of March there, right? And this right here, by the way, is the monthly, or not beginning of March. This was March. So this is the monthly here. And again, you see this volume kind of increasing all the way down here, and yet they couldn't continue any lower. So you get all this volume, and there's no continuation. That's a big clue that price is going to go the other way. And sure enough, there it goes, and it's starting to now get some volume as it's rallying up through there. Just basically things doing kind of as expected. I talked about back a year plus ago. I talked about this channel right here. Because it goes a low, high, low, and we can see the EQ provided resistance, and then it provided support. And so here we go, breaking out there. Yeah. So again, the DXY here is at the highest point it's ever. Well, not it's ever been, but it's been since back over here around 02, around the right after that whole .com bubble thing. So we'll see if it continues to go up with it, with what it's doing here. But again, little reason to think it won't. This is a very extended wave 3. I've got this as a 1-2 and finishing up a 3 somewhere in this area, maybe up to 108 potentially. But remember when I told you guys, everybody's like, well, how can Bitcoin continue to rally if the dollar is rallying? And I told you that, if the dollar pulls back, it's going to take pressure off, because if the dollar's pulling back, that means the market's becoming more risk on, right? And if that happens, then, risk on assets are going to kind of move positively, right? So, again, Bitcoin could find its way up as the dollar pulls back, and then Bitcoin pulls back as the dollar rallies kind of idea, right? Yeah, right here. So this is the big thing coming over here from February of 80. Well, no, what is that? November of 85 here, coming down through. It's been in this kind of downtrend here. It's made 3 waves down. Now we're rallying back up. Locally here, we do see there is some smart money is starting to sell a bit here as we've continued to rally up. So again, I think we're probably getting closer to a top than not. Thinking in terms of pivots here, I mean, this right here looks like 1, 2, 3. So I don't know. Do we have, let me see here. Is it possible maybe ABC, ABC, and then have a drop back down here for an expanded flat to the pivot? Possibly. Or we continue pushing up here and finish 5 and then pull back toward this area here, this 102 kind of area. Or, if it's a larger correction here, maybe even down toward 96, depending on what it's at, really. I've got my thoughts that we're on this larger wave 3, which means we should have a good pullback afterward, probably coming down toward this area at that high volume node there. I want to see what kind of happens right here with it right now. Our Euro USD is probably coming toward a bottom, I'm thinking. And that would coincide again with what we're looking at with the dollar getting toward a top there. So, yeah, we'll see how that continues to play out there. Let me see here. Looks like a bear div on RSI. Yeah, there's a bit of a bearish divergence. Sure. Yeah, again, kind of goes in line with what's going on here. But we do have this. We have the bounce right out of oversold here kind of coming up, which says, okay, we might have a little bit further up before we're done. Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of leaving it open at the moment. Do we kind of make that further up, potentially up there toward 108, or do we kind of come down here? Again, right here, it just looks like 3 waves so far, right? Or maybe even a 1, 2, 1, 2 here. Working on 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish up. So we'll see what happens with this here as it does. But it's been a great rally over the last year. Again, the easiest trade over the last year, I think, has been the to short the euro against the dollar. It's been, obviously with the dollar, with the DXY rallying, the euro is almost a mirror of it almost. So, yeah. Yeah, potentially the R2 right now. Yeah, potentially. Now, again, there are possibilities that maybe the count's a little bit off and 3 could be done or nearly so right around this area, in which case I would look for a pullback to the pivot, the daily pivot at 101.78 or so. That would be my initial target. Volume-wise, I mean, there's a little bit to say right here around 98.8, but then potentially again right here around 96 or so. Those would be kind of my 3 targets if we got rejected in this area here. If we continue up toward the R2, well, again, things get kind of interesting then. I think we can potentially, that'll be the larger wave 3. We can get a wave 4 pullback maybe down here. So, yeah. And that would be a good pullback. That would take some time. It wouldn't happen overnight. And gives Bitcoin time to rally, right? So, yeah. To the pivot, though, wouldn't that make a lower low? Lower low from what? No, right now, this is the high. If it gets down the pivot, it's just a low. You don't look off here. You're looking off your high. It just makes a low. So you have a high and then a low. You're not going to go here because we've gone up higher. If this was the high and this was the low and then it went up here and then it dropped down, you'd have a high, a lower high, and then a lower low. Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure I was understanding what you were saying. Yeah. So if you're looking for lower lows, it's going to be coming off that first high. You've got to have a low first and then a lower high before you can get a lower low. Yeah. That's the correct way to look at that market structure. Let me see here. What do we got here? TLT is interesting at the moment. So I've got this potentially as a 3, working on a 4 with maybe a 5 still to go. You can maybe count this as 5 down here. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see, do we rally up and through the 38.2 and the 50? If we break out impulsively above the descending channel EQ, I'm going to assume that wave C is probably done at the swing low. By the way, you'll also notice, this is 5 waves up, so that's 1, this is 2. Initial target is always your wave 4, which is where we're at. You can see right now we kind of rallied up to the high volume node area here. So, of course, getting a breakout through that's really going to look kind of bullish coming up on that. So we'll see if we can get that, because that impulsive breakout above that EQ there would suggest that wave C is done and we're heading up. First target being the descending channel resistance. That'll get us a breakout above this weekly pivot here. And then, we'll look to, all-time high, or this high here, and then we'll look for higher off that. Remember, your TLT is generally where people go, these are your longer-term government securities. This is an ETF, by the way. This isn't the securities themselves. This is an ETF. But it's based on those 20-plus year treasuries, long-term government securities. And so people tend to go to those when they feel like, when they're scared of what's going on with the market, right? What's going on with legacy stocks. There's a lot of people who still believe that the top is not in for the stock market yet, and that could be why we're still seeing this falling here as it's been. But we should see this definitely go up when the third wave really kicks in, when the third or whatever wave really kicks in with stocks. Drops there. So yeah. Could be really interesting. Let me see here. Oil. Oops, Discord slowed up for me here. There we go. Yeah, let's leave. Oil, my alternate count is in there, coming in. I think we've got a 1 and then a flat here. So I'm looking for an initial target, maybe of this 113.5 kind of area. Secondary target might take it just above wave A up here at about 116, 117. But I think that's all it should be, and then coming back down. So the first clue is going to be a breakdown below wave 4 here at 98.20. If we get up there and then drop below that, that's going to be the first clue that wave 2 is done. Further drop below wave B here at 92.93 is going to add confidence to the count and say, hey, yeah, wave 3 is in progress. You know, and that potentially gets us a target. See if I can get this in the right area here. Something like that. I mean, that could, you know, we got that 53.74. Let's see if we change this to, come on. There we go. Fib base levels. 66.23 would be a good kind of target area for a wave 3 on that. 1, 2, 3 down here. Gives us a 5 at about 58.29. So that would be A. We get B up here. And then C down probably in the, I don't know, low 40s, upper mid 30s maybe. Which would be kind of nice, right, guys? I saw somebody talking about it. Just somebody, I think on TradingView or something, talking about oil is going to go up much higher because of all the demand. Well, demand's actually down. We've got the airlines actually cutting forecast and whatnot because travel is down. So your biggest purchasers of oil often are your airlines and your cruise lines, your cruise ships, right? Cruise ships generally have had a pretty good quarter so far this year, first quarter. The second quarter, I think, maybe slowing down a bit. But, you know, if interest rates continue to rise and whatever, and we fall into this recession, potentially depression, nobody's going to have extra money to go on cruises and flights, right? So where's the demand for all this oil? Nobody's going to have extra money to buy all these products, right? Then, you know, oil is used in all the plastics and everything. So where's all the demand for these things to give us the demand for oil? It's not there, right? So that's just my kind of thought on that as we continue to work through all that. Let's see here. Natural gas. Again, looking at maybe 1, 2 here. I think this might be like a 1, 2, 3, 4 as a triangle, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we may be done. I was looking for maybe to get up here around the 61.8 right there in that area. But it looks like we're falling off pretty good. There's a good bit of volume coming in on that drop compared to what we had. It was almost minuscule volume getting into this. You see that volume starts picking up here? All that selling starting to pick up. And then finally came down. So a drop down below wave B here at 7.255 should mean that wave 3 is in progress lower. Let's see, that'll give us then possible target down there of maybe around 4.614 for wave 3 there. So we'll look for something like that. Yeah, we've got wave 4 here. Remember, look at this as an ending diagonal here. We've got wave 4 down here at 3.875. Notice the higher volume node coming out here as well. Look at how it comes out right there. So, I mean, this is a good target down here, initial target, potentially lower for wave 2. So if this is a 1 and we got a 2 coming down, if that's the case, at least they're potentially lower. But we'll see how the waves continue to unfold from where they're at to see how we do with all that. Let's see here. What else do we have here? We've got gold here. What do we got going on with gold? I've got potentially a wave 3 down here at around 17.28 and 10 cents. Potentially from here. Again, guys, gold's still dropping. People are still trying to find reasons for it to rally, but look at how far we dropped, guys. It's looking more and more like that's going to print us that double top up there. Remember, it's a breakdown below this swing low here at about 1676.70 or so. That'll get us that double top, and that pattern ends up getting us way down here at around 1339.80. And potentially even, lower down below 1,000. So, same thing I've been talking about. Nothing's changed on that. Oh, let's see here. I think, let's see. Dow Jones. All right. The Dow, I think, it looks like we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like we're maybe like a leading diagonal for wave parentheses 3. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll get 5. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll overextend wave 3. Again, the idea being that when we hit that wave 3 on the drop, it's going to be a harsh wave. So I can see this overextending. I can see us building up for that lower down. I mean, this is what we've done so far. This is kind of where we're at. Remember the idea that we had the wave 3, A, B, C, D, E, wave 4, March 2020. And this being wave 5. This has been our downtrend since then. So, yeah, I think we've potentially still got some further downside. This was a pretty good daily candle. So when it comes to Bitcoin, as a matter of fact, well, we can get a nice little rally locally here. When it comes to Bitcoin, this is the other thing I want to talk about, guys. Almost forgot. So when talking about maybe is there a bottom, well, look at something here. Look at yesterday's candle. Huge lower wick, doji, at the bottom of this downtrend, most volume. I mean, everything kind of screams bottom, right? But here's the other part of it. Look at these 4 candles here. These 4 volumes and these 4 candles. So the largest one was this one right here. If we look up here, this will tell us when we put our cursor over it, what the spread is, what the candle body is. $3,949.64, right? On that little bit of volume. Well, it was a volume spike from previous, right? So, okay, yeah. But look at the next day. A little bit more volume, completely flips and goes up the other day, right? So you're saying, okay, demand is definitely showing up, right? Third day comes in, a good bit more volume, so it flips back over and comes down. But look at this. It's over this day to this day. Look at how much more volume there is. So on this day, the volume was 54.73 thousand, right? Here, it's 67.5 thousand, right? But look at the candle spread. It goes from basically $3,950 down to $2,030. Significant decrease, a pretty good increase here, right? And then we get into this day, yesterday, and we have even more volume coming in. We have, the day before was 67.5 thousand, and then 69.4 thousand here on yesterday. And look at how much difference, $2,030 to $30 candle spread. So, these 4 days really suggest this could potentially be a bottom here. Again, no guarantees until we're breaking up higher and doing those things that I said we needed to do. But if you're looking for something that says, well, why might it be the bottom? This is a good place to start. Now, if anything, like I said, This could be 3, and we could have 4 coming up. So it could just be a local bottom. But I don't know. You know, there's a lot more volume in here than there was over here, right? And so, you know, even than there was over here, other than the few spikes toward these lows, right? Toward these lows. So I think there's a good argument to be made that maybe the bottom might be in there, but again, we're going to have to see it continuing to break on out, right? I wouldn't say that Bitcoin and Legacy are moving in lockstep. On the larger time frames, they're kind of generally moving in the same direction, but again, that just has to do with risk on and risk off attitudes. So we'll see how it goes. You know, my feelings wouldn't be hurt at all if everything continued to go up. I'll be honest, you know, again, I keep talking about the idea that maybe we've really topped out in Legacy and everything, and, you know, potential depression coming in. I don't want that to be true, guys, okay? But it may be. You know, it may be. My feelings would not be hurt at all if I'm wrong on that and it continues to go up. Because what that means is we have a chance to make a lot of money, right? Right? So I'm okay with that. But anyway, so yeah, just kind of looking at that there on the daily. That was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about with Bitcoin. We'll see what goes on here. Oh, yeah, XVG, man. XVG was funny, man. So you guys that know that follow me, this is one of my big, really good trades, you know, when I first got into crypto. Those of you that know, I bought it at 7 and 10 sats. And then like 3 or 4 weeks later, it was up to about 249 sats. But I held on to it to pull back. And then, of course, it rallied way up, you know, around 2,000 sats or something by December. I didn't sell at the top. But I think it averaged out at around 16 or 1,800, somewhere around there. So, yeah, you know, that was a pretty great thing. So I'm kind of looking at it right now. And I almost bought this yesterday. It's darn it, where's the daily here? Yeah, right here. Right here at the 13 or 16 sats area. I almost bought it. I think it was like right around 13 sats. Is that where it's at? Yeah, 13 sats. When it was down here, I almost bought that, and I just ended up not doing it. Rallied up to 18 sats, though. Would have been a good buy. This is one I'm kind of watching, though. I don't know if it's going to pay off going back to the source again. But that was a great trade, and so I don't know. It's pretty close down there to where it was the first time I bought it there. Daily oversold. 3-day oversold. Weekly just about. And this was the reason why I didn't buy it, was because the weekly had not closed down into oversold yet. So that was the reason why I didn't do it. This could be just a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us a 3 and a 4 and a 5 still to go. So I'm going to be watching this one. If you guys are interested in what I'm looking at, I'm going to be watching this one for maybe one more lower low. See if we can get that weekly into overbought. Maybe I'll miss it. I don't know. But that's something I'm going to look for on that as well there. Oh, let me see here. Where are my charts? Charts. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see what goes on here. Looks like we may be headed down lower here. Yeah. It looks like a Doge chart at cycle bottoms, Tell Your Honor says. Maybe. All right, guys, listen, I've done as much as I could. I almost made it the entire time. I apologize, guys. These allergies have just, my head is so stuffed up. It's just, man, it sucks. It hurts right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Like I said, guys, I'm thinking about doing that Friday the 13th special. $13 for 7 days access to our tier 3. I put that on Twitter there. So comment out there. Let me know what you think about that. That's for new members. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. I've never actually done that before. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, but, you know, if people think that's something they'd like, I might end up doing that. So let me know, all right? All right, guys. I appreciate y'all joining in as always. Remember, the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose. That's it. So please keep working on risk management, guys. It's what it's all about. All right. At the end of the day, again, it shouldn't be predicting. You should be forecasting, and you should be following proper risk management. If you can do that, guys, you're going to make your life so much easier as traders. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll be back on Tuesday. It's 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll see what's happened since then. If you're in Discord, of course, I'll see you guys over there in just a bit. All right. Take care. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take some time away from the charts. Enjoy people in real life. They're the ones that matter, okay? All right.